What is up, world? It's your boy Ton, and you are listening to the Wonton Wealth Podcast. Here, I'm going to unravel anything and everything commercial real estate related. And more importantly, we're going to add abundant value. So if you're ready, buckle up your eardrums. What is up, people? Welcome back. I just got back from a conference, and I probably should have done an episode like this previously, but better late than never. But so today, I am going to talk about how you should prepare for a conference, what you should do during a conference, and what you should do after a conference. Things that not a lot of people talk about, but is super beneficial for newbies and longtime conference goers alike. If you've ever gone to a conference and you came home feeling like you somehow just missed the whole fucking point of the conference, even though you were busy all damn day, this episode is gonna be for you. Conferences can feel exciting, they can be intimidating, awkward sometimes, expensive if you go to the right ones, or it could be the wrong ones, I don't know. And it could be exhausting all at once. The issue is that a lot of people prepare the wrong way. They focus only on what they wear, what they're going to do, and what panels they're going to go to, and they take all these fucking notes, right? But a lot of times they forget that the real win is often the relationships that they build, the people that they meet at those conferences that flew thousands of miles traveling just to get there. The goal isn't to win the conference by being everywhere at one time. It's to actually leave and feel energized, visible, and connected. You want to meet new people. You want to be motivated to do the next big thing. This last conference in particular, or even conferences that I've gone to in the past, I've seen people attend every single fucking session. They don't leave the main room. They're taking notes on their iPads, their notebooks, their phones, and they set up a shit ton of meetings. Now, different meetings are going to be set up different ways. So if you're fortunate enough to go to a conference where they are technologically innovated, where you can set up meetings ahead of time, phenomenal. Historically, something like that didn't exist yet, but not so recently was it something that you could utilize to set up meetings with people who you actually want to talk to. But nonetheless, I've seen people set up a shit ton of meetings. They're literally filling up their calendar left and right to the point where they don't have any fucking free time. They're probably hungry as shit, probably thirsty as shit, cottonmouth. They're running themselves ragged, and it's not until afterwards that they realize the most valuable part of the event was actually one conversation in the hallway or in line getting food or getting coffee, or it's just a spontaneous conversation that actually means the most. So let's dig into it. Before you go to a conference, whatever it may be, whether it be in tech, healthcare, whatever. This is a real estate podcast, so I'm going to focus on what I know when it comes to the real estate side. As with anything, you want to decide what you want out of that conference. You have to plan ahead of time. Plan what you want. Is it more partnerships? Is it more investors? Is it a deal out of it? Or are you looking for certain vendors that will help you with your business in general? Decide that up front. Write that shit down, and then formulate a plan of attack. Again, before you pack a bag or renting outfits or buying outfits, whatever the hell it is, ask yourself, why am I going? Again, are you going to be meeting new investors? Are you going to be going there to meet new friends? Or are you looking to get motivated? Or are you just trying to be a thought leader in the space? Whatever it may be, you have to put that down. You have to make sure it's front and center, or it's in the back of your mind, so that your main goal for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, whatever the hell it is to do exactly that. If you don't define your success before the conference, you're going to default to doing way too fucking much. Again, you have to have a plan. And what I want you to understand is that not every conference has to be an educational marathon. Learning is important. I get it. You have to sharpen the saw. However, a lot of these conferences now have these panels and speakers. Their sessions are already recorded. So you can probably skip out on that. You can take notes at home when you're in your jammies, in your office, whatever the hell it is, and focus on building the relationships. Note taking can wait. Focus on talking to people. If you're the visionary of your business, if you're the business owner, if you're the creator, if you're just super creative or whatever, sitting in a panel all day might not suit you. It might be boring as hell for you. That could be something that somebody else could be doing, like somebody that you tag along, maybe your business partner who's more of an introvert, whatever. For you, it might be something something more valuable would be probably just talking to 5 or 10 people. One real conversation can be worth more than 3 hours of fucking note taking or passive listening. I think a lot of times people assume that being a good attendee means you have to go to every session, but it actually comes down to your goals. It depends on what your goals are. So the smartest thing might actually be skipping a lot of the panels and taking someone to coffee or going out to lunch or, doing whatever shared interests you guys have. The next part here, let's talk about how you should dress. A lot of these conferences, there's a topic of conversation on, what do I wear? What do I pack? All these things, right? And my best advice for you is to wear whatever makes you feel like your best self. It makes you the most confident, it makes you comfortable, and you are there to rock your socks off. Confidence matters more than dressing for some imaginary standard. Fuck a suit. If a suit doesn't make you comfortable or it doesn't make you feel confident, don't fucking wear it. Everybody else is wearing one. Great. It probably makes them feel comfortable or it makes them feel confident. Who the fuck knows? Or they just think that's the norm. But you're smarter than that. Wear what makes you feel comfortable. It doesn't have to be formal. A lot of these people here are selling something. They're selling something, that's why they want to dress professionally. A lot of them you're going to see in a suit, a button up, sometimes a tie, and some nice loafers. What I've noticed is that the people and from my perspective, I'm looking for more investors, right? And I'm looking for deals. A lot of times, the people that I'm talking to are not wearing a suit. I've realized that there's a lot of people out there with a fuck ton of money and they're in normal clothes. I met a guy once in like a cowboy hat and he looked like he was in fishing gear. I just thought he was, had some cool shit on. So I walked up and talked to him and this guy had like millions of dollars to deploy, which is incredible. Whereas some of these guys that are dressed in suits, they're probably in a W-2 still. They probably don't have assets that they can readily deploy. They're there working for another company. And sometimes you'll find guys in a suit that are operators that are managing these multi-family funds or other real estate funds, right? So, and it kind of comes back down to who you're looking for, what your goals are during these conferences. Or if you're an operator yourself, you might want to dress a little bit more professionally. My thing is I'd rather be comfortable and I'd rather be myself. I'd rather be authentic. This last conference, I went skiing or snowboarding, I should say, there a couple days prior to the conference, and I didn't really have any formal business clothes. And rarely do I dress up like that anymore anyways, but I was literally in slacks and I had an Invest Beyond multifamily polo on, and on top of that, I had my snowboarding jacket, which was super colorful. You guys got to see this thing. It's jazzy as fuck. But that's what I was looking like. I walked through the hallways like that. I initiated conversations like that. I don't know what people were thinking, and nor did I care, right? But I was comfortable. I had sneakers on, didn't have shitty dress shoes on, and I was comfortable. And again, on the other side of things, if dress clothes makes you feel comfortable, by all means. If it makes you confident, by all means. If it's a great blazer, if it's a new pair of shoes, whatever. Whatever makes you feel the most confident and comfortable is what you should be wearing. Maybe it's getting your nails done. Maybe it's getting a fresh haircut. Maybe the clothes don't even fucking matter, right? It's all up to you. I have I've met a guy that was super casual as well. And, he dressed in pretty much t-shirts or a hoodie and jeans at these conferences. But his thing is he always buys a brand new pair of shoes for these conferences because a brand new pair of shoes makes him smile and it makes him feel happy, right? So he's on top of his A game. So that's why if shoes are your thing, by all means. But what you don't want to do is buy a brand new pair of shoes that are uncomfortable as fuck, that look amazing for like the first 30 minutes, but then by lunchtime, you feel like shit because now your energy's all fucked up and you're not going to be able to perform for whatever your goals are. Now, the other thing with these conferences, they all have an agenda or an itinerary. What you don't want to do is overpack your schedule. Pick some panels or talks that you want to go to, or if you have a buddy there, decide on which is going to make the most sense for you. Leave some margin in your day and don't just bombard it, because by the time you get done with all this shit, you're going to be exhausted, because it's going to be like packing a small piece of education, like let's say a college degree, into a couple days. College degree might be a little bit extensive here, but you're going to get a lot of information, and just with a few days to absorb it all, you're going to feel pretty wiped out, and you're not going to want to socialize thereafter. Conferences are full of spontaneous opportunities. You got hallway chats. You might get an impromptu invite to a happy hour or a dinner, lunch, whatever. Some of these guys might sponsor these dinners or happy hours. And you might get introduced to people through mutual connections. If you let people know what you're looking for, they might even help be a connector. They might introduce you to other people that you never would have talked to in the first place that could help you with your business. So remember, if your schedule is too rigid, you can miss the most valuable moments. Try to be spontaneous. For me, again, I don't attend all of these panels. I rarely do I attend maybe one or two. If there's time in the day and I feel up for it, I'll attend one or two panels just to see what the subject is and if I can learn anything. But more often than not, I'm out roaming the hallways. And the one place that I meet investors the most, or even other operators, is literally the bar. So I'm circling the bar, walking around in the hallways there. I'm like, hey man, you want to go grab a drink? Yeah, let's go grab a drink. And then we talk a little bit more about what the hell it is that we're doing, see if our interests are aligned or whatever our goals are for that particular time. So I mentioned preparing previously, before you even get to the conference, right? Or if you're on a flight there, you can kind of do a little bit more prep work, etc. But I think this has to come down to whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert. An extrovert, somebody super bubbly, super outgoing, starts conversations with strangers. An introvert is somebody who cannot tolerate crowds, doesn't want to be social at all. They're all about themselves, right? They like their alone time. So depending on what you are, you kind of have to navigate it so that it fits with your business plan. Extroverts, honestly, I think they're super outgoing. They'll talk to anybody out there. I'm an extrovert, I would say, so it's a little bit easier for me to make friends and start conversations and whatnot. But for introverts, where it gets a little bit more difficult is you have to plan a little bit more, because after the day's over, all they want to do is kind of curl up in a ball in their hotel room just to recharge their batteries. So for these events, you have to plan as an introvert. Networking is probably going to feel super awkward for them, and they're not that spontaneous. So in order to navigate that, what I would recommend is having a few like go-to questions ready. And for example, what brought you to this conference? Or what are you most looking forward to? Or what are you expecting to get out of this conference? Or what's been the most useful part for you so far? And who are you excited to meet here? Or who have you met that is awesome? Or who have you met that's been instrumental to your business? And the most simple one is, what kind of work do you do, right? I like to lean on the acronym FORD, and I'll give a shout out to Vish Mooney. He actually taught me this acronym, and it's pretty much my go-to for everything. It's called FORD, FORD, which stands for family, occupation, recreational, and dreams. And you can go down the line following that sequence, but you ask them about their family. Are you married? Are you single? Do you have a significant other? What's that situation look like? What do you guys do for fun? How many kids do you have? What do you guys do for fun? And then you got occupation in the O. What do you do for work? What's been a challenge at work? What are you most proud of at work? And then R stands for recreational. Recreational is what type of fun shit do you do outside of family and work? What are your hobbies? Do you go hiking, kayaking, snowboarding, golfing? And then lastly, your dreams is the D. What are you looking forward to in the future? What are your goals 10 years from now, 5 years from now? Shit, maybe even a year from now. So those 4 points there, if you ask them, that could probably take up a good 20 minutes in a conversation, and people are really going to remember that because you're in tune and you're listening and you're remembering what they are talking about. And I guess that to piggyback off of that, what I will say is you want to actively listen. You want to mentally take down these notes. I probably would not be jotting down notes on a notepad or on my phone because that actually seems rude. But as much as you can remember when you're asking people all this information, you want to actively listen and you want to ask questions about them, and that will naturally drive the conversation. People love talking about themselves, so that is going to be super important because you would want to follow up with these people if you want to continuously build a relationship with them. The more you remember, the more and you follow up with them, it's going to really, really hit home versus you just sitting there fucking reading questions off of a flashcard. That's not going to work. Good networking usually comes from good curiosity. Conferences can be draining, both physically and socially, especially if you're an introvert. But, for extroverts, sometimes like myself, I'm a little tired too. I'm like, God damn, I'm trying to just get my ass home. I want to just chill out and sleep for like 12, 15 hours, if that's even possible. But, bring stuff with you that helps you recharge your batteries, whether it be, I don't know, gum, mints, snacks, water, caffeine. I don't fucking know. Or you need to take regular breaks or go outside, things like that. Just build a lot of these breaks in to your daily routine and keep that kind of going for the entirety of the conference, and hopefully that will get you to stay on throughout the conference, because the energy is what you need to preserve in order to get the maximum benefit out of these conferences. And the last thing I have for you guys is probably the most important piece. It's the follow-up. Whoever you talk to, again, you want to take down as many notes as you can. The conference is not over when you get home. It's not over when you leave the hotel or the venue or when you jump on your plane. A great connection that you have, let's say you had a 30-minute conversation with somebody that was absolutely riveting. That can fade super fast if you decide not to follow up. Maybe the other person's not going to follow up. Everybody's a busy professional, right? So you have to remember to have a system built in order to follow up with people. And you want to send that message when people still remember you, because as soon as that 30-minute conversation is over, let's say a week from that conversation, they're probably going to remember what you look like. They're going to forget what you talked about. So when the earlier that you follow up, the better. And then I would recommend continuously following up every so often in order to keep that relationship alive. Your message could be an email, could be a text message, could be a quick phone call. I don't know. Great meeting you here. It was great talking about blah, blah, blah. Mention something specific. Maybe it was something about their family, their kids, their, again, F-O-R-D, their occupation, their work, or whatever their dreams are. And, outside of what I mentioned, email, text, phone call, you can follow up on social media. And I would actually recommend, if it's more personable and more professional based on your conversation, I would probably email them if you were able to get their email. Hopefully you did. And the one thing that I would say here, when you go to a conference, technology is actually growing. So you're going to see these digital business cards, and you're going to see the old traditional business cards. I am kind of mixed between the two. However, I would say I lean towards more the physical cards because mine personally has my picture on it. And then it obviously has all my information, phone, email, social media, etc. That's a little bit easier for people to remember because they look at the card, they see your face, and they're like, oh shit, that's awesome. Okay, I remember that guy. I talked to him about X, Y, and Z. Whereas if you are doing the new tech where you're scanning their QR code or tapping phones and shit, it's not a bad way to do things. However, there's an inherent problem with it, depending on how the tech works nowadays. So, sometimes when you're tapping phones, it just goes directly to that person's contact list. And sometimes you might forget that person's name, and the follow-up never happens. Or sometimes if you're scanning QR codes, it pops up in your web browser, whether it be Chrome, Safari, etc., and it comes up as a tab. Well, what if you don't check your tabs in over a week or 2 weeks? Now, the follow-up is going to become stale. So those are the issues that I'm seeing. Unless there's a way for you to scan all of these contacts and have a follow-up that lets you know who you met at what time. That might be a great solution to these digital business cards. But until that's fixed, I'm still a hard copy, physical business card type of guy. Because, when I come home with a stack of them, it's a lot easier for me to go through and follow up with those people that have given me business cards because I know exactly who to follow up with versus having to dig through my web browser on my phone or my contacts and try to figure out what their names were. So if I could leave you with anything, know that the best conference prep is not about being perfect. It's about setting yourself up to feel comfortable, confident, and available for the right opportunities. I'll catch you all next time. And that's a wrap. If you've made it this far, that means you've listened to the entire episode, so thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening from. And if you've learned something or found it useful, share it with one of your homies. And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm pretty active on IG. My handle is pro_TANH. Reach out, let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, or what you want to hear about in the future. I'm here to tailor this to you. Until next time.